Richard Corbett, you are the leader of the Labour Party in the European Parliament, so Labour MEPs. Can you just explain to me what actually is Labour's Brexit position?
Well, we're the opposition. We're not the government. We're looking aghast at what the government is doing.
But what is your position? Surely the opposition's got to have a...
Well, whereas the government is saying, despite what it's agreed with regard to Ireland, it's nonetheless saying we want to leave the customs union and the single market. We are saying, wait a minute, don't take that off the table. Leaving that has a huge economic cost. If you can negotiate successfully conditions for staying in the single market and the customs union to Britain's advantage, why take that off the table before you even start?
So the Labour Party's position then is basically what it doesn't want, in terms that it doesn't want ruled out customs union single market membership. But what actually does it want? What would a Labour Party Brexit strategy be working actually towards?
Well, if we were in government now, and we're not, of course, we're more likely to be facing...
Well, we're constantly told the Labour Party is a government in waiting.
Yes, but we're not yet there until this government falls, and the sooner that happens the better, because it's making such a mess of things, that, and it could happen any moment. If we were in government, we would be negotiating, as I indicated, to keep the advantages of the single market and the customs union. As it is, we're facing a costly Conservative Brexit, possibly taking us over the cliff edge, with disastrous consequences for the British economy, and we are firming up our opposition to that kind of Brexit.
So, yes or no then, maintaining the benefits of the single market customs union, does that mean that the Labour Party is still open to continued membership of the customs union and the single market?
To retain the benefits of them, you need to have a deal that keeps Britain involved in them under satisfactory conditions.
So, yes, then membership of the single market or customs union, or...?
It's all about the conditions, isn't it? That's what a negotiation is about.
So yes and no at the same time?
Well, no, it's not yes or no at the same time. It's getting the conditions that would enable us to keep those benefits of essentially being very close, if not in, the single market and the customs union.
You know more than anyone probably European politics and British politics, being a Labour MEP. What's your personal preference then? What would you like the Labour Party's position to be?
My personal preference in these circumstances, when we're at the moment, what we are facing is a catastrophic, costly, cliff-edge Brexit by the Conservative Party, damaging our economy, is to oppose that kind of Brexit.
So your position is to simply oppose someone else's Brexit, but you don't have a Brexit position
That's
yourself?
what we're faced with at the moment, isn't it? We're not in government at the moment. I hope you're right, and that will change soon. But at the moment, we are facing something that will be very bad for Britain, damaging our economy, costing us jobs, costing investment, costing our public finances an enormous amount of money, and that is not good for Britain. What's
your opinion then of what Heather Stewart from The Guardian wrote, that Corbyn's general election strategy, and indeed strategy still is to spell out more specific position in terms of Brexit, would alienate key groups within the Labour Party, and so basically the position of the Labour Party is to remain completely ambiguous and not to bother anyone?
Well, I think time is moving on. It was understandable that last year there was a different range of reactions in the party to what had happened in the referendum. That was last year. Now we're looking forward to next year's emerging Brexit deal.
Has much changed in the Labour Party position?
That's a completely different thing. We are facing something that could be catastrophic for our country, and in that we are uniting in opposing it.
What's your thoughts on what's going through Parliament at the moment with regards to the UK Parliament potentially having a more significant vote on the final withdrawal agreement? Do you think that, in terms of the European perspective, is going to strengthen or weaken or affect the Brexit negotiations?
Well, for a start, from a democratic point of view, it surely makes sense that Parliament, our elected Parliament, has the right to look at that deal and say, is this good for Britain or is it not good for Britain? And if it's not good for Britain, to reject it. You don't give the government a blank cheque and say, OK, you can go off and do what you like now without reference. Whatever it is, we will accept it. That's nonsense. So Parliament must have the final say.